Okay, great. So mobile messaging, and I mean, like we just heard, you just couldn't have missed all the action around WhatsApp and Facebook. Everybody is on WhatsApp these days, or at least almost everybody. When I buy something from a shop in Govindpuri, a curtains cloth, the guy said, "मैं आपको WhatsApp कर दूँगा details." So I was on this WhatsApp group, which is my little daughter. She goes to school, and all the parents are on a WhatsApp group. Every school, every class, there's at least one WhatsApp group. Sometimes there are parallel rival WhatsApp groups. So then we were on a discussion about how bad the teachers were in terms of their discipline or whatever. When this news broke, Facebook buys WhatsApp. So we had a bit of a discussion. What does this mean then? Are things going to change for WhatsApp? So I said, first of all, it means that each of you is worth $40. Okay, so everybody wanted to know, how do we get that money? That's the first thing. I think there's a lot of interest in trying to figure out what Facebook is going to do with WhatsApp so that they're going to get that $40 or $20, assuming they reach a billion users, and so then each user they would have paid about $20 for. How will they recover that money? And I think it'll be interesting to start with that question and get your take on that, because very clearly they're not going to recover it from all of us as we stand today. In most of our cases, some of us have paid $1 to WhatsApp, some of us have not. Most of us have not because of whatever. I think on the iOS app you have to pay, on the other BlackBerry and Android, they keep deferring it or whatever. So they're not going to get it from this. They're not going to get it from ads, because generally they don't want to do ads. Most users are very resistant to ads. So there's a flood of advertising, there's a problem. So it's going to be from voice probably. Now we've already seen an announcement about voice, and if that happens, the telcos are pretty worried, because WhatsApp came and really messed up the SMS ecosystem. So we heard in the morning that everything, the whole world has moved from SMS to OTT, and so we have to learn a new set of abbreviations. So it's all OTT now. So if they're going to do to voice what they did to SMS, then it's very, very worrying for the telcos, because we're talking of trillions of dollars available for disruption, if not for the taking. So I'd like to put this to you, that in that context, where do you see the next steps in mobile messaging from your respective points of view? Where's the money?
I think one thing that you asked was about free messaging and free calls, right? So I think what, as PKR alluded to, I think there's a lot of question about WhatsApp and acquisition and Facebook acquiring it and so on and so forth. Free messaging, I think, is a very stiff game now. WhatsApp was great, is great, and they really had the muscles. They really had the proliferation. I think Facebook acquiring it gave it all the muscles that it needed. So I think it's a very, very stiff competition for such free messaging applications. Let me take this a step further and talk about free calls, which is what's next for mobile. Instead of just messaging, let me talk about what's next for free, mobile communication. Free calls, I think, again, don't make money for anyone, period. No one has made money on free calls. Even Skype says their revenues are generated based on the paid calls. At Ringme, we've taken that.
But the telcos make money, right?
Telcos do, right? So they are the, okay. So
we have some telcos here.
Right. So going back to free messaging also, if there's one, one unit or one group which can disrupt it, it's telcos again. Who can take on, what Facebook and WhatsApp together is going to do. So I think for free calls, again, that's what we believe at Ringme. What we've done is essentially given a platform, and from the get-go, we are monetizing on the platform and from the paid calls. So my feeling about the acquisition as to whether Facebook buying it is worth, or whether, how they're going to monetize, not too sure if I can comment on that. That is something that, I think Facebook would decide. They have the money, they have the power, they have the money to burn perhaps as well. So.
Okay, Nilay, what's your take on this? So if I were to ask you, where do you think that money will come from, and therefore what does that mean for players like you or others who are playing in the mobile messaging ecosystem?
My answer to that would be that See, eventually, the messaging has evolved as a solution or as a free solution for SMS, basically, right? And while that happened, more and more people actually consumed the messaging application for a better engagement with their friends and people who were there on the messaging platform. And from here on, what is happening is that these messaging apps, which looked like app earlier, are becoming platforms of the future. And these platforms are the social and multifunctional platforms through which probably every possible internet service now can be or would be consumed. And it is not just probably limited or will not be limited to just the bare minimum communication, though communication would be probably the bottom layer of P2P conversing. But on top of that, what is building up is a platform, and that platform will actually ensure and enable opportunities for probably revenues to come in. What kind of opportunities? There are probably many in number, many in number. Just a few to say, probably, I mean, if you've seen, there are apps like us, WeChat, where there are opportunities built in where you consume stickers to communicate with your friends, and there are stickers that you love, but at the same time there's certain very minimum stickers which are paid as well. So that is an opportunity. We've recently, in fact, in our 5.2 version back in January, we introduced gaming as a concept where you log into gaming with WeChat identity. Again, what is happening is the regular app gaming is converting into social gaming, and where you basically engage with that game with your friends. You play with your friends, there is leaderboard, you want to pay. This is typically how social gaming works. And again, in that, there are opportunities of money making built in. But I think at this point in time, all this is evolving, and probably majority of the market is yet to come in, and we'll see how it evolves further. But broadly, I think the way the platforms will build up, it will ensure that there are interesting and enormous opportunities of making money.
But tell me, in the process, is there a lot of, is this disruption fairly destructive? Now, let me put it this way, where was the money in messaging earlier? It was in SMS. And it was, I don't know how many, maybe many tens of billions, maybe $100 billion or whatever. Now, that was disrupted. Okay. Now, it's not as if that money went to WhatsApp. It just died. I don't know where that money went. Did it go to anywhere? It just, maybe it went back into the consumer's pockets or whatever. Are we likely to see a similar situation with, with voice, for example, where there is $1 trillion plus riding? Daman, what do you think? It's a disruption, but it's not as if the disruptors are taking the money. The disruptors are disrupting, and they're sitting back and watching, and they're not making too much money unless they get acquired for a $16 billion.
So I'd like to take you back a bit. So if you see, the first generation of chat app or chat was actually SMS. The telcos had the first mover advantage to actually innovate on a messaging application. However, you needed a disruptor to come in, and then got created the first generation of chat apps wherein text was being exchanged. Now what's happening with the new generation of chat apps or messaging apps, they are evolving to be smartphone live platforms, something what Nilay just said. Herein, it's not just messaging, it's messaging, communication and content. So again, a next round of disruption is coming wherein you're wrapping messaging around a whole lot of other content and services. Coming to your question in terms of voice, I don't think the place that we are in right now, and the ecosystem that we are in right now, it's going to be so commoditized that it's going to be free. Messaging doesn't require as much bandwidth as a voice is, or you do not need latency in voice. You need it to be clear. So there's a certain amount of connectivity that's required, and there's a certain price to be paid for transmission of that much amount of data. So in terms of it being totally free, we are still not at that disruptive phase. We are still in the investing phase. we still have to build a lot of content and services around it for us to completely disrupt voice as a service.
Okay, I'll come back to you on this, Apul. Let me just get in Sukirti here. Dhawan briefly touched upon content, and you're a content player. Where do you think content comes into the equation? And you also have tie-ups with some messaging platforms, etc. So, what's in it for you in that, and what's in it for them?
Well, just taking a step back, I mean, if we look at it, we've been very, very happy with our success on Facebook. So as a platform, it has provided us unprecedented access to new readers, building fans, helping people discover our content. So when we look at these messaging platforms, especially WhatsApp or WeChat, we started our experimentation very, very early on. In WeChat, we are one of the first players, I think, to have an official account. So yes, our readers will be able to follow Jagran News all over, all of our products on WeChat. Why did we do this? Because when we look at our market, which is, I mean, if you start to look at the vernacular market, people think maybe, might be a small market. Why are they so aggressive? But it is 33% of the internet market. It's the fastest growing market. We are seeing growth of 60% year on year. We know that these are the platforms these users are going to access. So if I look at Facebook, it provides 15% of my traffic. We're hoping our partnerships with WeChat, again, will be very, very positive for us. We did just a very, very small experiment on WhatsApp. We have an education portal, and we just wanted to see, okay, what is the reach? What kind of products or services could be? We said, okay, great. We have an MBA section, ask us a question. 9,000 questions were asked within one day. I mean, it is unbelievable the amount of access that these platforms bring. So when we look at it as a content delivery company, we look at it as helping us reach our consumers, maybe finding new consumers, new platforms to deliver our content through. So it's a very, very positive space for us.
Okay, so let's just take this further. Apul, did you have a view on this? The fact that we are looking at very major disruptions coming in. Now, those disruptions are obviously doing what they're supposed to. They're disrupting, and they're disrupting in a very big way. But if there is, let's say, $1 trillion industry available and you disrupt it, it seems to be that can just fade away, or most of it just goes away without the disruptors actually taking a significant part of it. Is that a fair statement? I mean, that seems to be what's happened in messaging, and could it be that's what's going to happen in voice? Or is it that, in voice you clearly have data requirement which is very strong, so that data becomes a fundamental barrier, and the telcos will definitely charge for data, telcos won't give it to you free. So if voice gets disrupted, will that revenue clearly go somewhere, and that somewhere would include the telcos, unlike in messaging where OTT has clearly done a lot of disrupting?
Right. A lot of us entrepreneurs want to take a slice of this big, multi-billion-dollar voice market, so to speak. But it is not, messaging is asynchronous. You can send message now, and even if you get it, even if the other party receives it after a minute or 30 seconds or 1.5 minutes, it's still okay. Voice is not so. When I speak now, you want to hear it, within a few milliseconds or so. So there's clearly a lot of work that goes into building a platform that enables voice, doesn't have the latency, the redundancy, so on and so forth. Now, it's a lot of, I've spoken to a few people, and they are of the, they think that offering free calls would be a great way to get going. Honestly, it doesn't really make money if you're just starting up on that. Eventually, you will run out of funds unless someone acquires you. And that's the only exit for you, unless someone big acquires you. So my personal feeling about that is free voice calls will take some time to come, because the networks are still, we are getting there, with LTE coming in, voice over LTE coming in, so on and so forth. I'm sure we'll get there. But from a monetization point of view, I think free calls don't really work. So I think the disruption may happen, but I think it's a while.
Okay, so I'm going to put this to you. Sorry, did you have anything to add to that?
I just wanted to add, it doesn't require disruption always to generate supernatural profits or to generate a huge amount of revenue. If you see Line, ChatApp as an example, it's one of the largest revenue-earning messaging apps in the world, rather one of the largest revenue-earning apps in the world outside gaming on the Google platform. And it's not that because we disrupted every other industry that we entered that we could generate this revenue or supplement some other revenue stream. It's all about how do you perceive the problem to be? If you perceive the problem to be just voice, okay, yes, you're disrupting one part of that. But if you're perceiving the problem to be communication, and within that realm, you can provide n number of services while subsidizing others, I think that's the view a lot of businesses and a lot of applications like us take. So it's just not one sliver, either voice or message that we're looking at. I mean, we can even start talking video for that matter, but that's not the thing. It's communication. It's both visual, audio, and text.
So in fact, we seem to be having the reverse situation where the disruptors are actually not making money unless they're getting acquired. So that seems to be the holy grail, be acquired by Facebook preferably. That really helps. Also, essentially, most CRM packages with front-end interfaces, with customer interfaces, do include chat modules these days. They don't necessarily interact with Facebook, etc. And when they do that, they usually have a separate, typically a separate Facebook page, and they have a team looking after that and so on. Okay, we need to wind down. Time's up. So I just want to throw this last question at you. If you have like 30-second responses, where will the money come from in messaging calls going forward? There are obviously not too many types of streams. There's advertising, there's subscription revenue, or there is some ambiguous valuation and then you get bought over. Is there any derivative or any adaptation of that when we say what's next for mobile messaging? Anybody?
So I'll take
Daman?
that. So the way we see it, short answer, there are two main sources of revenue. One is obviously what you said is advertising. And second is a lot of in-app purchases that we'll see for a variety of incremental services, products, and virtual goods that the users will be using, not just within the app, but also with the partners for whom like we open up the APIs and we open up the integrations with.
Okay, so in-app purchases, we didn't go there at all, but I think especially iOS has seen a lot of in-app purchases, far more than Android or BlackBerry. Apul, do you have any closing
I think, I personally think that any of these apps, messaging apps or any of these apps, if they are intrusive, if there is ads there, if there is, any kind of things which is built on it, customers are not really loyal to an app, so to speak. If I don't like an app, I can quickly change it. So if WhatsApp was really successful because all it did was, give me messaging, that's about it. There was no intrusion from the app, so to speak. I firmly believe that having building on a platform or having a platform which has a clear idea of how you want to monetize it right from early on is the way for you to build something and scale. Thinking about acquisition on the first day or offering something for free and thinking that we'll have users and then someone will acquire us happens but rarely, I would say.
Absolutely, and like you said, there's no loyalty. I think after this, just after the acquisition was announced, WhatsApp had an outage of about an hour. And apparently 5 million people joined Telegram. Whatever.
Well, if we can give an example for election coverage, we are using WhatsApp extensively. If they had a paid professional account, we may have signed up all our journalists.
Okay, so premium accounts, especially for things like media. Niloy, closing 30 seconds.
To sum up, I think the whole evolution of this ecosystem where in-app purchases would exist, subscription models would exist, value-added services would exist, and people would pay for it, would do for the monies that would come in the future.
Okay, lovely. So thank you very much. I realize there were other questions where we have to wrap up, time's up. Clearly this is a very, very exciting space, and not just because Facebook has paid 16 billion for WhatsApp, although that's a very good reason. Clearly, that's a space many of you would want to be because it dovetails into other areas, it fits into other things like CRM. There's obviously the great chance of building up a big enough base and you're getting acquired in some way. You're having subscribers who may be willing to pay for either the basic service or a premium service. There seem to be a number of places where, because there's really a flow of disruption taking place and you are very well poised to be on the disruptor side versus the large incumbents who are protecting their turf. Clearly, I think this is a very, very exciting space ahead. So thanks very much for a very interactive, session, audience, panel, 2 post-lunch sessions, and they've both been very, very interactive, really terrific. Thank you very much.